Good morning and welcome to Emerson Institute at City of Light. I'm Reverend Dr. Paul Gretz, and it's a delight to welcome you to our brand new class, The Book of Truth. It's a book written by author Paul Selig, and it's an incredible study on the journey of unfolding truth within our lives. I'm so glad you've joined us for this session, and I know it's going to be an enlightening experience for you. Now, this is an 8-week class, so we hope you're joining with us throughout the entire series as we cover chapter by chapter in some great discussion. It is a journey of studying truth and letting it unfold in our lives and understanding what truth is. So I'm glad that you're part of this experience together, and I really feel that we're drawn together for a unique purpose. I don't think it's by chance that we're joining each other through this live streaming programming and through our YouTube channel, City of Light Atlanta. I think it's divinely ordained that we're here together to study. So let's just prepare our hearts for what God has in store for us. I believe the universe has something amazing unfolding for our lives. So I'm going to invite each and every one of you who are here in our class setting, as well as those of you joining us through live streaming and our YouTube channel, to just take a moment and let's just center ourselves. What we're going to do is do a little deep breathing. Breathing in through our nose, holding for a moment, and then releasing and letting go through our mouth. Allowing this to change our vibrational level, to allow us to be more present in the moment, allow us to release all distractions and thoughts that may be taking us away from this very moment, because this is a divine ordained moment, a moment with great purpose. So let's enjoy this study together and put all of our attention together, and let's just really prepare ourselves for a great time of unfolding of truth. So breathe with me, would you please? Let's breathe in and release. Deep breath in and release. Deep breath in and release. Now, in a moment of silence, I invite you to set your intention, express that desire in your heart and mind of that which you'd like to receive or achieve during this time that we share together. And so it is. Well, it is a great opportunity to join with all of our students who've gathered here in the Dr. Angelo Pizzella Wisdom Center here at City of Light. It's on our third floor of our campus building, and we're located at 3125 Presidential Parkway here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'd like to welcome all of the students who are here, and I'm encouraging you to offer some insights and ask questions, and let's create some great learning dialogue. The same for you who are joining us through live streaming. We'd love to have you share your comments. Just type them in. We have someone who is watching for me and will flag me down and say, hey, we've got a comment coming in. And we want to just create that kind of live interaction as much as possible. We also want to let you know that we have class notes, sort of cliff notes, available for you. If you'd like to receive these cliff notes, please reach out to me at my email address at revtpaul@aol.com. revtpaul@aol.com. Just send me a message and we'll make sure that you are included in our mass email blast of the class notes prior to each class session. That way you can follow along, and if you somehow lose connection, or you can use them easily to add additional note-taking onto these sheets of paper, just let yourself feel like you're really in the experience of studying together with us. So we want to make sure everyone is included in this process, and we'd love for you to make sure that you have those notes as well. Now, let's dig in. Class number 1, and it begins with the introduction, and it's really looking at what is alignment. You know, we talk about alignment a lot in our spiritual journey, and alignment is really when our conscious mind and our subconscious mind come together in a oneness. How often it is that the conscious mind can be running off here in monkey chatter, should we say, a monkey mind, running off here, and the subconscious mind is way over here. And sometimes the subconscious mind, we worked hard to try to instill belief that all things are possible, and the monkey mind is going, no, it's not possible. How crazy you are to even think that way. So we're not in an alignment there. And quite often, maybe we are also trying to hold or grasp onto some affirmation or spiritual truth, and it's not working for us because deep inside our subconscious, we've kind of implanted an idea that, this ain't going to work. What do you think? And you can affirm, oh, I am healthy, whole, I am divine, I am fabulous, and the subconscious mind is going, ooh, I don't know, you've been teaching me so often and telling me so often that it ain't true. So it is not in alignment and it's not working together. So one of the things that we really have to do is a little spiritual gardening. That's right, spiritual gardening. What we're going to do is sort of turn up the soil, cultivate the soil a little bit of the soul to allow there to be a greater alignment. Because what has happened in the journey of our lives is many times the beliefs that we've accepted and entertained have kind of created a hard rock Georgia clay soil. You know what that's like? Have you ever done some gardening out in Georgia in that clay? That especially in the months of July and August, it's like chiseling, stone. It is so hard, and it's like it's been so solidified, and it's really hard to till up the soil. It's really difficult. You have to amend it to really get anything to grow at times. Well, that's sometimes our life. We have let all these beliefs come in and harden the journey. And so you may have, the pastor's giving out a daily affirmation in email. Hope you're all receiving that. You're like, I love that affirmation, but deep inside you've instilled so much that says, that doesn't work for you, and it's not going to happen. So why are you even trying to say this as a mantra or repeat it over and again? And it can be vice versa, that sometimes you have tried so hard in your subconscious to embrace this sense of belief and knowing, but doubts are being given to you by friends and family members that said, I don't know why you're going to that class on the Book of Truth. That's just malarkey. That's just crazy. And they go, well, wait a minute, I'm working on my spiritual life. And then they're imparting all these doubts. And you see, there's not an alignment. Does that make sense? So what we want to do is sort of like turn up the soil a little bit of the soul and allow there to be a merger, that seeds can be planted deep within the subconscious, that the thoughts that you're having and the agreements that you're sharing and these affirmations that you're holding on will be implanted into the subconscious, and they will grow and nurture there. Because there's a lot of times, how many of you had an experience maybe with affirmations and finding they don't work for me? They just don't work. Because again, it's a great affirmation, I am healthy and whole, but then the voice behind you is saying, you ain't healthy and whole. That's too Pollyanna, do you believe that? You're a mess. You're not even, well, why are you even thinking that? So again, what we're trying to do is we're working on bringing this into a sense of alignment, that we are pulling our conscious mind and our subconscious mind into a sense of oneness, that the seed of the affirmation is easily planted into the soil of the subconscious, and we begin to amend the soil of our beliefs. We begin to amend the nature of our attitude. We begin to transform our life. And the whole journey of the soul here on this earth is this soul transformation, this evolution that you're trying to work through. But so often you're finding all this blockage into the evolution of the soul because you haven't amended the soil. You haven't tilled it. You haven't allowed that affirmation seed to be planted well within the subconscious. Because I'm going to tell you this, you all are the divine. You all are God. Now we say, oh, I hear that, I know that, but I ain't God. Oh, I know I'm God. No, but I ain't. I'm going to tell you that if we really began to embrace who we are and what we are to the fullest, wow, what a transformation we'd begin to experience within our life. There would be an amazing evolution that would happen within the soul, and it would move quickly. And we would evolve quickly, but we have to come to this place where we are experiencing alignment. Now, we achieve this spiritual alignment through our daily expression and our experiences. So what you're saying and what you're doing are helping you to experience this alignment. So this is why it's so important that we monitor our words and our thoughts and what we're expressing and what we're doing. Because quite often we know the teaching, and some of us have been in the teaching for years. We know this. And it's like, oh yes, and we can spout it all off. But we don't speak it. We don't think it. We don't practice it. We don't live it. So what happens is our daily expression and our daily experience is in conflict, not in alignment with exactly what we want. And as the soul, it evolves, it's ever coming into this alignment more and more. And this is the journey. What we've come is to build on our previous experiences in this world as a soul, as a life force, as an energy. We've come to build on that. Are you building on it? I hope you are. I hope you're really striving. Because this whole journey of life is that work that we're called to do. For the life that you're living now is the agreement to be in this moment, and that you have agreed for what you've agreed to be and to move beyond what you've known. So let's just break that down what the author is trying to bring out for us here is the life you're living now is this agreement to be here. Your soul agreed to be at this time. Your soul came into this time, this now, this present moment. You agreed for this. And I believe that you also agreed to be who you are and to go through some of the things and experiences of the learning and the evolution and to move beyond what you've known. So you're not here to move backward, but to move forward. So our whole calling is, I think every one of us, no matter what, there is some evolution forward. But how about we move light years forward? How about we really evolve forward into the state of greater alignment? And that's what we're called to do. Because our journey in this world is to discover new awakenings, new ahas, new moments, new times when you're like, wow, this is just more light is coming into my life. I'm becoming more of a brilliant light into the world. I'm having new awakenings and I'm replacing the history or the past experiences. So let me tell you this. Too often we hold on to past and we hold on to our history. And we're wanting that to define us. And so often people are replicating it. You know? I failed yesterday. I'm going to fail today. I want to replicate it. Some people are just that kind of mindset. And so we keep in this cycle and we're not moving forward. We're not discovering new awakenings because we are continually replicating the past, the history, the yesterdays, the bad moments. Maybe you had a bad relationship with someone and you're holding that in history. So you believe the next relationship is going to be equally bad. And you're holding on and you're just wanting to repeat your past rather than opening up to new awakenings and new discoveries. So what we want to understand is you don't have to live what was, but you can create your new now. So I don't care what yesterday was all about. How about you create a new today? Because your yesterday is already come and gone, and hopefully you've gleaned everything you need to know from that experience. You don't need to repeat it. How many of you would enjoy repeating the third grade for the 7th time? Okay. How many of you would like to be, repeating your senior year another 21st time? But somehow in life we've embraced this kind of idea that I'm going to repeat exactly what I did last year in the previous relationship, or what my experience was with my prosperity and abundance, or my health. I was sick yesterday, I'll be sick again. And I know there's a lot of people say, I'm ready for the annual cold. What? The annual cold? Yes. Every year I get a cold, so I'm ready for it this year. So what? You're repeating your past history by affirming that I'm going to get a cold this year. Or, I know that I'm going to repeat this. Every time I do X, Y, and Z, my back goes out. Okay. Well, are you wanting to repeat that? Because sometimes, subconsciously, we're so comfortable with what we've done in the past that we just want to keep doing what we do in the past and just replicate rather than rebuild, rather than come to new awakenings. come to new experiences, and create a new now. Because it's time to call forth new and amazing things. Are you ready? Are you ready to call for some new and amazing things? Because this is your time. They exist, but we've got to begin to call them forth, to claim them for yourself. And that means that you've got to amend the soil of your beliefs and let go of saying, it happened in the past, it'll happen again. Whatever happened back then, it's going to happen again now. And so we just believe and we replicate it. So let's just dig up that soil right now. Let's get a rototiller. Let's turn up that Georgia clay. And we're going to amend it with a little nice fresh fertilizer into the soul. And we're going to amend it to allow the seeds of faith, of claiming great things, to be established. That we are now claiming our new now, a new now, a new moment. Wow, what's this new now look like for you? What does it look like? Have you thought for a moment? A new today. Now, you say, well, wait a minute. I already have my day planned. I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday. I wake up, I made my bed, I had my breakfast, I had coffee. I'm going to, make a few phone calls. I'm going to pay some bills. I'm going to do laundry. And, how about a new now that's full of a new perspective about everything that you're doing, that you're saying somehow today in the journey of my life, I'm going to be this amazing light. I'm going to shine and radiate. I'm going to transform someone's life, and I'm going to be transformed in the process. So are you ready for a new now? Let's claim that and begin there. Because knowing that we are this wonderful being who we are, is that you are, what you are is holding a vibration. Know that the being that you are, this soul that you are, is holding a vibration. That's right. We're energy, and energy is vibrating. There's a frequency. There's an energy about each and everyone's life. Now, I love this. I lived in East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, and Zanzibar for years, and culturally, in that environment, people are known more by their vibration, the frequency, the energy. Rather than in our Western culture, we would say, hey, did you meet the lady with the brunette hair and she was quite slender and wearing the blue dress? Where they might say, hey, did you meet the lady or the one with the affirming energy that was so positive and a powerful outlook? And Westerners would go, what'd she look like? Well, she looked like she was positive. She looked like she was, well, no, I'm sorry. Was she tall? Was she short? Well, her energy was vibrant and very big. You go, wait, you're not telling me what she looks like. But what does she feel like? You see, what's the energy, the vibration that we're receiving from one another? I love the vibration that I'm getting from each and every one of you as students who are seekers of truth. And there's a wonderful vibration that's here in this room that's electric, and I'm picking up on all that intriguing interest and desire to learn and to move forward and to evolve the soil of your life and the soul that's here. So just know that you are holding a vibration, and the vibration it holds is now forming all that it sees. So if you've got a negative vibration, everything you're seeing is going to come from that negative perspective. If you've got a higher vibration of love, joy, peace, compassion, all these things that are a little high, vibrating at a higher frequency, what happens is you're going to see all things from that perspective. That vibration is forming all that it sees. So begin to understand that the alignment to the vibration of truth, the truth of what you are, is what's going to shape your life. So what we've got to do is check our vibrational frequency a little bit. And there's always days when our frequency maybe drops down a little bit, our vibrational energy, because we're not feeling so upbeat. And there's other days where, hey, I'm all at it. I've had 6 cups of coffee and I'm vibrating at a high level. Here we go, woo, I'm just jumping off the ceiling, But you may feel like you've got energy, and other days you may be lower energy, but the vibrational frequency that you can raise up within you, no matter what your health may be or how many cups of coffee you've had, it can be just a vibration of consciousness that you are truth. And this truth that you are is going to shape your life. It's going to change your life. It's going to help you to achieve your highest and best. So just remember that the light that you are has never been extinguished and never will be. You always were. You are, and you always will be. You know, I think this is the beautiful thought that we need to embrace. Certainly, I hold this dearly, and it's been a dear comfort for me as about 3 weeks ago, my beloved partner passed away. And as he transitioned into eternity, this wonderful knowing that he always was, and he was with me, and he always will be, is a perfect peace. And that this energy has just changed form. And yet that form being in a different location, in a different context, I can still feel the vibration of the soul and the love that I experienced. It's still radiating there. You know, they say to us that walls receive the vibrations or the frequencies, even of words. And science has been exploring the idea, can we pull those vibrations out from the walls? And could we learn something from history? Wouldn't it be amazing if we could pull out from the walls of, say, the Hall of Independence, where our forefathers signed the documents of independence and our Constitution, and pull forth the conversations and know firsthand? Wouldn't it be wonderful we could go to these tombs of Egypt and the pyramids there and pull forth the conversations? Well, I want to tell you this, our vibrational frequency goes out and it's there. And it's there always remaining in this world. It never ends. The vibration that we're giving, it goes on out and it continues to radiate and being touched in energy. So just as the butterfly flaps its wings in Atlanta, Georgia, that energy, that movement is now transformed and flutters all the way around the world, returning back to the butterfly. So it is our vibrational frequencies that we're sending out. They always have been and always are and always will be. So the vibrational frequency of my beloved Robert is with me, and I hold it dear, and I claim that, and I journey with him in a new context. As he's celebrating being liberated from all pain of cancer and of years of suffering, he's celebrating in a new context, and I'm also celebrating in a new context, moving on in a new journey for my own life. As we know that we sort of fulfilled our contract together. You know, I firmly believe that we had this wonderful contract that said, you know, hey, I need to learn something in life. And Robert said, well, I'll help you. I'll go down there and have cancer, and you could take care of me. I said, I need to do that. That sounds great. Let's agree to do that. I'll meet you down there. Hey, let's connect up. I'll see you in the year 2000. And lo and behold, we find each other and spend 21 beautiful years together and fulfill the contract. But the contract comes to an end. And now it's time for him to move on and the soul to evolve, because everything that he needed and agreed to do was accomplished in this time. And it's time for him to go. Although I'll miss him dearly in this context, he's deep within my heart. And my contract is still continuing on in a new dimension, in a new way in this world. I've got something more that I need to do. So I don't want to lose sight of that in the sorrow of losing my beloved. So I am moving on, knowing that he's always has been, always will be, and ever evolving. That in this evolution, we want to remember that we are what we speak. Wow. Did you know that? You are what you speak. We are the word that we share. So, be careful when you say, oh, I'm just upbeat and optimistic, but my words that come out of my mouth are, dang, it's a horrible day and I can't stand this and I can't stand these people, oh, but I'm optimistic. I follow the teaching. I'm a upbeat, positive, affirming, new thought person. But boy, oh boy, my words coming out are, dang, I can condemn you and I think this is bad and this is horrible and all I can think about is how life is the pits and, I'm a failure and I'm a mess and, you are what you speak. So we want to make sure we've done a little examination of our words, because if we're on this journey of transformation, then let's choose the words and speak in the manner that reflect a high vibration. Let's choose the words and speak the manner that reflect our desired transformation that we want to experience in this world. So, what are you speaking about yourself? What are you speaking about your life? What are you speaking about your world? Because let me tell you this, what you say is what you are. So how many of you have said today, I'm fabulous, I'm fantastic, I'm gifted, I'm talented, I'm alive, I'm vibrant, I'm healthy, I'm whole, I'm energetic, I'm enthusiastic, I am an overcomer, I am not a victim. How about any of that? Well, we need to do a little self-talk once in a while to make sure that we've aligned our conversation in the right direction and then speak from that perspective, that all of our conversation with one another is all about, hey, things are good, everything's great, all things are working together for good, you know? It's so easy, as today I had a disrupting conversation with someone just prior to coming to class, and like, oh my Lord, these people just can't get it together, and I could complain and complain. And I'm like, whoa, wait, zip it. Because that's not what I want to speak. That's not the person I want to be. That's not the world I want to live in. So how about I speak words that shape and form the kind of world that I want to live in and the kind of person I want to be? Oops, that may require a little zip it, a little change within our thinking about what we're speaking about, who we are, our life, our world, and about ourselves. Let's move on to the next chapter, and the next chapter is called Understanding Truth. Now, the world that you exist in seeks to be reborn in a higher consciousness or awareness of what is true. I love this statement. Think about it. The world around us, it's really seeking, it's trying to figure this out. But remember, so much of the world around us is trying to do it through the physical context of limitation. So many people in the world around us are not aware of the spiritual unfolding that wants to take place in this world, in the world that they live in. So they're always working difficultly and hard and making life more difficult than what it's meant to be by working through, seeking to be finding this higher awareness just through physical terms, physical ways of touch, sense, taste, hearing, smell, etc. All those kind of things, which are full of limitation. But we understand that this world is really wanting to be reborn, wanting to be made anew, wanting to be more fabulous. Do you know that? Everything wants to be more fabulous. It has this intent desire. All of nature says, I want to bloom right now. Dagnabbit, I want to reflect some color. Let me blossom. Let me show out some colorful blooms. The azaleas are going crazy and saying, I want to be reborn in a higher consciousness. And as these plants grow and stretch through the blooming process, they're becoming taller and larger and ever stretching out. They're being reborn, shall we say, in a higher awareness of what is true for them. So Jesus said, you must be born again. How important it is that we are awakened to this every day. Am I born anew? Am I born to my new now? My new moment? Right here. I don't want to live in my past. I don't want to live in my yesterdays. I don't want to be there. I want to be my new now because it's full of infinite possibilities. And I want to live this experience from a fresh perspective. So I want to be born again. Let me be renewed right here and now. Let me be renewed in my thinking. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, Scripture says. Let this mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. Let this mind, this thinking, be reborn every day within us. Now, don't be afraid of this journey, for you are God in form. Woo! A lot of people find that hard to embrace. I'm God in form? Well, that's right. We are created in the likeness and image of the divine. That divine essence is in you. And you are the form. You are the hands of God, people may say. You're the feet of God. You're the voice of God. You are God in form. And when we understand that, wow, every one of us then is the source, and that source is manifested. So when we're looking for God, we need not look any further than the person seated next to you. I see God. I see God. We're God in form. And when we say we're God, we're saying that everything is God. Not me alone. Oh, I'm not God and you're not. No, you're God. And I'm not saying I'm not. We're all God. And everything is God. God is this infinite life force and energy that is in this universe that is creating the all good. And so God is in the trees. God is in the birds. God is in the sky, the grass, the water. God is in the air. God is in you. God is in me. God is in everything. And everything of its source is what we are. Everything is of this source. And nothing is separate. Nothing is separate. So this belief that you are separate is what's actually keeping you from truth. I want to tell you, what's the roadblock for everyone from embracing spiritual truth in their life? It's thinking they're separate. I'm not God. I'm removed from God. I don't know how many people come to me as a pastor over the 42 years of ministry that I've served in this field, and they're constantly feeling that they're so separate. God is up in heaven, far distant away, removed from them, and they're trying to please and appease and beg and get God's attention, not realizing that God already dwells within. And so that separation is what's keeping them from truth, from really discovering and awakening to truth. Now, if you accept the truth, what's happening in your life is, well, you can't be afraid. Wow. Can you imagine what it's like to live a fearless life, that you're not afraid of anything? Knock on the door, not afraid. Crazy sound in your water heater, not afraid. Your car is making an unusual noise, not afraid. Receive a bill and the unexpected bill that comes in a little bit more than what you've got, not afraid. You know? So what happened if you were in this belief that you accepted truth fully? Well, you cannot be afraid. And fear no longer will hold you captive. This is what liberation is all about. What did he say? Jesus said the truth will set you free. But if you're not open to the truth, and you are believing that you're separate, and you're removed, you're creating this barrier and saying that I am not the divine, and I am not truth. I'm not that. I'm separate from it. And I'm seeking and I'm searching and I'm grabbing for it every which way I can find. I'm turning here, I'm turning there. Do you have truth? Could you give me truth? Could you help me with truth? Instead of realizing, wait a minute, I am truth. I am the divine. I am that which always was and always will be. Truth is that which always was and always will be. And you are truth. Anne has a question or a comment.
Yeah. In Musar, there's a whole chapter on truth. And I couldn't find it again last night, but I had written down, every human being has the faculty of determining in his own heart where the real truth lies. And that's pretty much what you're saying, you know?
Yes.
But I have a lot of stuff rolling around in my head right now, but the main question I have is, it's an affirmation, but I think it becomes truth when you feel it. Like Neville Goddard says.
Right.
And I want to feel like I'm a divine being, but I don't. So how do I get there?
You want to feel like you're a divine being, but you don't. And how do you get there? Well, again, we awaken all of these feelings by doing a little stirring it up. You know what I mean? And that stirring can be these powerful affirmations that twirl up the soil, because if you're not feeling that you're the divine being that you are, there may be a hard Georgia clay soil that the seeds are coming in and they're just resting on top of the soil and they're not going deep within. So we've got to till that soil up. We've got to toil. We've got to cultivate it. We've got to get that tiller up and chop up that soil a little bit that's gotten so hard and clay-like because of our firm, constant belief. I don't feel it. I don't think I am. I'm not there.
Does that always have to be painful?
No, it doesn't have to be painful. No.
Confronted in a sense that it's negative?
No, it can be a beautiful, opening up your life can be a beautiful experience for us. Opening up your heart can be beautiful. It doesn't have to be painful. It's like, no, it can be just like, I open up my heart to this. And I'm going to be willing and open to allow beautiful things to unfold within me. And I'm not going to question things. I'm not going to be this kind of person that's always like saying, that can't be true. I'm not divine. There's no way. Instead of just saying, I welcome this and let me experience it for the first hand. Let me tell you this, because you're going to be shaped by your experience. So you have to allow yourself to experience something, There's a lot of people, say for instance, will say, I don't like horseback riding. Have you gone horseback riding? No. I've never had the experience. But I know I don't like it. Well, why? How do you know that? Well, I just know. I don't want to be galloped. I don't want to be bounced around. I don't want this animal below me. I don't want to go to fast pace. I can't control the horse. I don't have the skills. Have you ever tried? No. But see, the difference is when you begin to say, let me experience this. Let me experience this. So, my deceased partner, Robert, was an avid horseback rider, and we went on vacation, and he would say to me, let's spend some time riding horses in Costa Rica. Okay. I'm not really a horseback rider like he is, And so we signed up for this little horseback riding tour for a couple of hours through the jungles of Costa Rica. I thought, okay, a couple of hours I can manage. When we arrived, he said, you know what? Your lucky day. No one else showed up. So I've got all day to take you on a horseback riding. It was 2 hours. I'm giving you 8 hours. Whoa, 8 hours. Okay. Well, I'll have to tell you this, I wasn't experienced at it. So rather than forming judgments and fear about it, I said, let me try. I got on the horse, and yes, after the first 6 hours of bouncing it all around like this, I finally got the experience and got into the rhythm and this is what you're talking about, how to work through the gallop and how to ride in a way that becomes more comfortable. You see, the experience changed me because I allowed the experience to take place. Too many of us do not allow the experience to take place, and so we never have the feeling. So I want to encourage you, Anne, just allow your day to be filled with, I am divine. I am just divine. And act from that and know that I am God in this moment. What would God do in this moment? What would God do right now? Maybe God would say, let me do something for you. Let me bless you. Let me hug you. Let me be grateful. Let me be loving. What would God do? Well, you see, we have the opportunity to do that. So every moment we're asking ourselves, what would God do right now? And when we think from that perspective, we're beginning to open ourselves up to experiencing a life transformation within us. Great question, Anne. I thank you for bringing that up. All right, so now, oh yes, over here, Carla.
What I got out of it is once I got to the point of acceptance that I am not separate from God and never have been, and because source is truth, that means all truth is available to me. Yeah. Then I have to be willing to release myself from the place of everything I think I know or everything I've been told to believe, and allow myself to just be in silence in a place of the unknown so that I can then know the truth. When I release everything that I think I've known or everything I've been told to believe is true, I open myself up to the truth. And so my affirmation today was, may I know myself in truth.
May I know myself in truth. Wonderful affirmation today, Carla. Thank you. Because it's about, again, opening ourselves up. So thank you for that. That's a great comment. So let's look at our notes again. So rebuilding is what we're going to do in this life. Rebuilding. As you are rebuilt, everything you see around you will be transformed as well by your consciousness, okay? So we're renewing our mind. We're thinking differently, right? We're opening ourselves and say, okay, what would God do? Let this mind be in me that was in Christ Jesus. We say, you got the mind of Christ, now use it. You get the mind of Christ. Well, dagnabbit, use it. Come on. Let's start thinking. Let's start thinking in a way that rebuilds our life. And as we rebuild, what we're doing is everything you see is going to be now from a different perspective, because now you're seeing through the eyes of God rather than the eyes of humanity. And you know what's going to be so synchronistic and wonderful is that you're going to start seeing things that are like, ooh, that was a God moment. Because you're seeing things as God would do, bringing everything together into alignment for your life. That you're thinking, wow, look at this synchronicity in life. I shared with you and some of you a few weeks back that on the 7th-day anniversary of Robert's passing, at about 1:30 in the afternoon, I was talking with his sister, and we were consoling one another because Robert passed away at 1:46 on a Tuesday. And as we were talking on the phone, the doorbell rang. And we were talking about just wanting to feel Robert's presence and knowing that he was okay and that he was with us. And you know how everyone grasps for straws in their grieving process. I know, all these people would say, oh, I would just love to hear a voice from heaven. Anyone, lie to me. I don't care. Just tell me something that my beloved is fine, because we were grabbing for that last minute touch with someone in connection. And the doorbell rang, and I went to the door, and there was nobody there. But I opened up the door, and there was a beautiful floral arrangement on the ground.
No.
Now, Robert knew that I loved flowers delivered. Now, he could create flower arrangements. We all know that. He was quite creative, and he would make one up and say, here, no, I want one that's delivered to my office. I want to feel special. I want someone to say, Dr. Paul, there's a delivery for you at the front desk. You kind of go, oh, someone sent me flowers. And you read the card, and, you just feel special, right? So suddenly, it's 1:46, and I'm at the door, and I'm picking up a beautiful flower arrangement with a beautiful card on it. Synchronicity. It's almost like you're seeing things in the world through the eyes of God, because you're like, oh, God, you knew exactly. That's right. You knew exactly what I needed. What? That's right. I knew. And you're going, oh, this wasn't a chance. This wasn't luck. This was divine synchronicity coming to order into my life. A moment of great peace and comfort. And I just said, thank you, Robert, for the flowers, knowing full well that they came from another source, but that they were synchronistically brought at that moment. Those flowers could have been brought at 10:30, or could have brought a later day, or another day, or another moment. Florist could say, I give up. Nobody rang the doorbell. I'll just leave them with a neighbor. But at 1:46, they were right there on my doorstep. And when you begin to align yourself, you begin to see everything through the eyes of God and say, yeah, it's been planned that way all along. It's been ordained. Do you not get that? What you're going through was ordained, and it's for your good. Can't you see the good? Because there's good there. And what you're experiencing right now is powerful and meaningful for you in the journey of your soul transition. And when you say, rather than seeing my world is just full of challenge, suddenly you're saying, my world is full of blessing. Because you've changed your consciousness, your outlook. So let's go back and explain truth in the author's context here. Truth is something that always is true, okay? It's going to always be true. Not sometimes, but always. And the divine self is that you are this truth. And as truth, when you understand this, you align to all things that are true, okay? So I am truth, and this truth is liberated and set free from all fear. That's who I am. I'm truth. And I begin to align myself with things that are truth. It's interesting that when you come to a higher consciousness, things of lower level consciousness slip away. You're not interested in them anymore because you know better. You have received a new insight, a better understanding of things. You've risen up to a higher level. So I want to encourage you to start operating as truth. Say, I operate as truth, as what has been always true. I operate as truth, as what has been always true. It's always been true. You've always been truth. But you just didn't wake up to that. You've always been what is, you are, and always will be, and that's what truth is, right? Truth is always been in existence, and you have always been in existence. You are the divine expression, which has always been in existence. So you see, the truth of who you are seeks to be revealed as you. So stop living the life shaped by what you've been told. Live your life now. I'm going to tell you this. A lot of us are living our life by what we've been told, and it's not true. You've been told that you're separate from God, and it's not true. You've been told you're a failure, and it's not true. You've been told that you're not good at something, and it's not true. Because all things are possible in the divine, and that's truth. Truth says all things are possible, and that's been timeless. So for us to live by things that we've been told is the crazy way of going about life. But instead, we need to begin to move and operate as truth. As truth, that which has always been and always is and always will be. For when you operate as truth, you are not in alliance with fear. Woo! Anybody want to be fearless? Anybody want to be free from fear? You want to? Great. I see these hands going up. That's wonderful. And you can live that life when you are operating as truth. As truth. Truth is, all things work together for good. That flat tire, all things work together for good. That extra bill that came by, all things work together for good. That uncomfortable phone conversation, all things work together for good. That person who hurt you, all things work together for good. We go on and on and on, and we just say, wait a minute, I have to look from the perspective of life that's true, and true is all things will work together for good. You know, Sunday I said, what is it? In the end, everything will be right, and if it's not right, it's not the end. So, you know, people are like, well, not all things work together because right now this is kind of muddled and messy and problematic. Well, it's not the end, okay? It's going to be beautiful and all work together in the end. But you have to wait for the end. We have to facilitate the end coming about, the completion of that. Sometimes we get stuck midway and say this is really too difficult and we don't experience the fullness, you know? I've shared that in an illustration going ziplining in Costa Rica, where, you know, you step off the platform, you're all hooked up to the zip line, you're buzzing across a canyon, looking down below you in fear and screaming, help me, you know, and you're going as fast as you can, and you're thinking like, I've got no control, and fear grips you, and what do? You push down on the lever, and you slow down your speed, and before you know it, you didn't reach the goal, the end, and you're suspended, hanging out there on the cable wire. Yeah. And the zipline guide is looking at you like, what kind of fool is that? I got to go out and get him and pull him in. Yeah, I was there. I guess that was me. Yeah, I was like one of these things. It's not the end. Don't panic. It's not the end, because the end is you'll arrive at the platform on the other side of the zip lining, and you're going to get off and put your feet on solid ground. So just hold on to the end. But if it's not good, it's not the end. Okay? If it's not right, you're not at the end. Well, you know, I kind of gave up a little too soon and thought, this is the end. And I'm dangling out there all alone. And he comes out pulling on the cable, comes to grab me, and then begins to pull me back in. It's like, dang, this crazy tourist, what's wrong with him? I can't believe it. He's ruined his joy ride of this great experience of ziplining because he was afraid and thought this is the end. Well, we've all been there. So in this journey, we have to ask ourselves an important question. What am I willing to leave behind? What am I willing to leave behind? You know? Because we've been told a lot of stuff, and we've got a lot of baggage that we're holding on to. But I want to ask you, what are you willing to leave behind in life? Because truth is, what you sow, you reap. And the lie is, I'm going to reap something other than what I sow. So let's go back to say, there's some things I may have to leave behind in life, like fears, doubt, negativity, the idea of being separate from God. Because what you're sowing is what you're going to reap. That's truth. So if you're sowing fear, you're going to reap fear. If you're sowing separation, you're going to feel even more separated. If you're sowing doubt, negativity, you're going to have more of that in your life. So just know that. And a lie is, oh, I'm going to be very, very happy as I'm condemning and negative, and I am feeling separate and in lack. Oh, honey, that's a lie. That ain't going to happen for you. You won't be happy. You see, you've got to align all those thoughts together. So realize that you are the creator, and you're not living in the past or what historical data has been taught to you. You then will be remade every day, and you can claim a new way and a better benefits for your life. You want to be reborn, remade, rebuilt. When something is in agreement with you, it's in a chord or a chord. You know what a chord is on music? You know, bum, 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 the three notes that make up a chord and beautiful harmonies. Okay, everything is in harmony and resonance with each other. It's a beautiful chord. Well, the instrument you are plays the note that corresponds in vibration to what it sees. So you want to be in accord with God, in harmony, okay? So the three notes, shall we say, are all harmonizing together. You want to be in accord in the musical vibration where everything is corresponding beautifully with what it sees. Acts chapter 2, verse 1 tells the story of the birth of the church of followers of the teaching of Jesus. And it begins in after chapter 2 with this, and when they all were in one accord. Now, that's not a car, an accord, boom, boom. They didn't try to squeeze into a Volkswagen. They weren't trying to all get into a vehicle. That's not what it's saying at all, and we don't want to literalize scripture in that way. But what we're saying is they were all in harmony, all in unity. And the beginning of the miraculous movement of the teachings of Jesus coming alive and being lived out was when the followers became in accord, one, in oneness, in harmony and unity. All right, we have a comment coming in. David Carter?
Crystal Sanders.
Crystal Sanders, welcome.
If you live a life of truth, your soul shall be cleansed.
If you live a life of truth, your soul shall be cleansed. Beautiful. Thank you, Crystal. Great comment. I appreciate it. Glad to have you with our class. And thank you, Crystal, for the beautiful plaque you sent to my home. I appreciate that as well. All right. We also are looking here at being in how we see things. So we want to be in accord with the divine, with the mind of God, in harmony. And we're going to see things so differently. Everything is now going to be seen from a different perspective. You'll perceive things differently. The one who sees truth in anything calls light to it. And it is the light that lifts it to its true nature. The only thing that will not transform this plane from war to peace is the level of consciousness that simply cannot see, think, or hear to war. When we are at this place, I don't see war. I don't think war. War is not an option. It's not an option. Okay? I put in this little box. It says, wow, in your notes. Dr. Paul says, living life without negative options is essential to our success. So, do you have options, multiple ones, like plan A and plan B? Or do you just have one option, and that is success? That is my highest and best. The one option is truth. The one option is I achieve. Not, oh, option B is I may not achieve. Plan B is, well, when this doesn't work out, and what kind of faith is that? Faith that says, I believe God is miraculous and working miracles today, but if it don't work out, well, then, I'll believe in something else. Well, that's not faith. That's not faith that says I'm committed to believing. In our world today, we've got a lot of people who live on plan B and wonder why plan A never works out, because they've invested more energy in plan B. So you find these couples that I deal with in marriage counseling, and as they're getting ready to get married, oh, well, Pastor, we've got everything ready for our wonderful years of bliss and eternal love together. We've got a prenuptial agreement so that when it doesn't work out, we're ready to go. Yes, this is his, this is hers, this is his, and this is hers and hers, or whatever it may be in the couple. It is that we've split everything up well before we started. We're going into this relationship, and we just know that when it fails, we got plan B already in place. So we're set for a successful marriage. So, well, no, you're not. Because you've invested more energy in plan B than in plan A. Because you believe this probably isn't going to work out. So I would say, maybe this is not even a good thing that you get married, because you're putting more power into plan B than plan A. Plan A is divorce is not an option. We're going to work this thing through. We're going to be successful. We're going to find a way to make this work. And certainly there's exceptions. We'll say to every rule, please don't get offended if a marriage hasn't worked out for you, but just know that it's a mindset that we need to put in. Are you working your plan A or are you working your plan B? Carla.
One of the concepts that I had to take a little time to get was that to look at everything as it truly is. So to try to look at everything in truth and not have an expectation of what it should be, but to look at it in truth. Because for an example he gave was, if we are trying to plan all the time for peace, and how can we have peace? In doing that, we are also calling into manifestation the possibility of not peace.
Right.
But if we raise it up to just seeing it in truth and raise it all up to a higher frequency, then it can be what it is in truth. And it doesn't call the thing that is not wanted into manifestation.
That's right. When we sing every Sunday, what do we sing? Yes, there is peace on earth. We don't say maybe, kinda, or we would like peace on earth, or hopefully somebody will make peace on earth. Because we're always calling forth in that context the lack that it's not there. But we're saying, no, peace is already here, and it begins in me. So we're working in plan A, not plan B. Thank you. That was a great comment. Anne.
You know, I kind of look at politics like this also, and I can relate it to the medical field. So in the medical field, you take a patient that's sick or something, and you give them a diagnosis. And it doesn't mean their feet are in cement in that diagnosis. We know that spiritually, we've learned that. But politics, when I hear, oh, the Democrats this and the Republicans that, I don't believe politics, our democratic process, is in place to divide us. It is in place to bring us together to find the truth of the situation. Your truth might be a little bit different than mine. I doubt that, but anyway. So you work it out. You say what you did, bring light to the situation, bring spirituality, bring spirit, whatever, and work it out that way. And don't stick in the mindset. It drives me crazy. The Democrats are doing this, and they're in charge of that, and there's so many this and that. Work it out.
Yes.
Know?
Well, in the field of politics, it's designed to be a field of compromise.
Right.
So you have different perspectives, and how politics move forward is compromise. But in today's world, we have people who say, I am not willing to compromise. I want it all my way, or I want it all my way. And that's where politics becomes stagnant. So it is every change and every movement that we've made successfully in the history of the American government has been through compromise. And it's those simple steps. Not everybody gets 100% what they want, but they find what they find is the highest and best. And that was designed for us to have balance, you know, so that there might be different perspectives presented, but we find the compromise or the middle ground. So let us pray that more and more people are open to finding middle ground and less being soil that is hardened as Georgia clay and unable to welcome any kind of movement of compromise in the world. So let's move on. For when we find out when we cannot or do not imagine, we live in limitations. I can't tell you how important it is that you spend some time imagining, dreaming, visualizing. Because when we don't have this spirit of imagination involved in our life, What we're missing out is the opportunity to move to new heights and to move to new dimensions. We cannot imagine something is possible or that we're capable of it. What happens is that holds us back. The kingdom of heaven is here and now, so we're invited to claim it. As you imagine, as you dream, as you visualize, as you contemplate it, that's what's going to happen for you. So the journey of understanding this whole expression of truth is, let's imagine what our life would be like as we lived out truth every day. You must understand that truth is a vibration, and aligning with it is essential. So we, again, want to pause and ask ourselves, what's our vibration today? Everything that's been created can be recreated in its true nature. I love this. We recreate it by changing our perception of it. God is in all things, so there is nothing that can be outside of God but your belief in separation. So let's change that perspective and that belief that we live in separation and just come into one accord, into harmony, into alignment. Let's understand that we are a divine being. We are God in form, and when we do everything, it's recreated and moves into this alignment. When we do this, what's going to happen is everything is going to move and come into alignment. I am the God within. I am God in form. This is how I see life. This is how I look at every circumstance, how I view every experience. I see it as I am God in this moment, and what would God do? And how might I live that out? So here's our assignment. Our assignment is that we are not to condemn any person. Woo! Can we do that? Not to condemn anybody? Ouch. You know, that's nobody. Come on. Can we condemn a few? No. Our assignment is not to condemn anyone. Because to condemn them is to condemn the God within. Wow. Everyone is the expression of the divine. They may not realize it, may not living to the fullest, but they are. So we can't condemn anyone. And to condemn God, or the true nature of all things, is simply to deny the light. That's what we're doing. We're denying the light that is present within one another. And denial of the light, what happens is an action of fear. I'm denying the light because I'm afraid. I'm condemning because I'm afraid. I'm condemning and I'm afraid because I believe I'm separate. So a lot of people are afraid of people who are different because they focus on them being separate rather than focus on them being alike. So when we find that the denial of the light is simply an action of fear, and the action of fear, again, is a denial of God. And what you have is blasphemy. Denial of God in all things, in all people, in everyone. So why are we spending time condemning anyone? Let's lift them up. Let's lift out and call forth the God in one another. Now, yes, we're going to encounter people that are human tendencies that, are they ever an idiot? Are they stupid? Yes, that's our condemnation that wants to flow through us in judgment. But just think about if we stop and say, the light of God is radiating in them, and I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to draw it out through my comments, through my support, through my love, through my words of encouragement. I'm going to call the good that's there. Even though they may be speaking negative, I'm going to speak, but I see the good in you. I call forth the good in you. I do not condemn you. Instead, I'm here to help you bring forth the light, and then no matter what they say, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not fearful by it. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not reacting in resistance to it. Instead, I'm seeing that this is an opportunity to reveal the divine, see the divine, acknowledge the divine in each and every one. So as we conclude today's class session, I'm so glad you're with us. I'm going to ask, what's your takeaway? Our tradition is go around the room and we're going to ask everyone to share a little bit. What did you receive from this class? What really spoke to you? What resonates in your heart? And what's speaking to you right now? And for those of you joining us through live streaming, we're asking you to do the very same. If you just take a moment to say, what's my takeaway from this class? What nugget of truth or what really resonates in my heart? What did I hear in this class session that really spoke to me? I'd love it if you take a moment just to type in a sentence or two, share it with us, because Dr. David Carter will be watching our Facebook postings, and we'd love to hear from you as to what resonates in your heart and life today. Now, while we're waiting for you to share your takeaway, we're going to ask our students in the classroom to share a little bit what has spoken to them. Let's begin with Lynn right here and say, Lynn, tell us what resonates in your life.
That I have to stay conscious in the truth, not when I start to wander, bring it back all the time. And that's a rough job, but by doing so, you help, I think, train your subconscious to bring it up. And then you can also have a higher conscious that we're not aware of. And you can ask for help from up high to help heal the low.
Wonderful.
And to keep you on the path of truth.
I like your takeaway. That's really good. Anne, tell us what your takeaway is today.
Well, I put some stuff together today, and I'm looking back on my journey with the vaccine and how, as a kid, I was programmed to just behave myself and shut up and do what I tell you. And at some point, I became very stubborn. And so when the vaccine came along, I said, I'm not getting that vaccine. It's not safe, it's experimental, blah, blah, blah. And I can see that through being in Emerson, I did my homework, I did my research, I made an informed choice, and I put it in God's hands. And when I finally got that shot, I said, I'm God, give me some more God. You're God, you're giving me the shot. But you have to build that trust in order to feel divine. That's what I'm saying. And so it's a process, and I can see my process. And it's not Lynn's process, it's not Brenda's process, it's mine. And once I can see mine, I think I can respect everybody else's process. So that was good. A whole bunch of stuff came together. And you know what? I started out not liking this book because it reminded me so much of being told what to do, being identified, being, and it's like, stop it. I want to be able to think it out for myself, but not in a stubborn way like when I was a kid.
Well, I love your process, Anne. You're doing a great job, and we get to observe it and see you unfolding like we're watching a flower bloom right in front of us. And you're just doing amazing. I appreciate it so much. And thank you for your comments and your honesty about the journey that you're going through. It helps each and every one of us. Thanks. All right, let's go over here to Carla. How about that?
Well, it's interesting, our perceptions, because your perception at first was like that it was telling you what to do, and mine was, I liked it because it was telling me I didn't have to do what I thought I had to do. Release myself from everything I think I should have been, or what I was supposed to do, what I have to do, and open myself up to the possibilities and to know myself in truth. And that's what I liked, is that I felt it released me from the things that the limitations I had been putting on myself. So that's my takeaway from what I was reading in this book.
Good. Excellent. I appreciate that. That's wonderful. Let's go to Brenda.
Every morning when I meditate, I always start off with, I am a child of God, and I have been created since the very beginning as soul. So my life started at first cause. And I've got all these people that have been before me that have left parts of their understanding, and you can tap into that. And I was meditating right before I went outside on the deck one day, and I love going out there on my porch to watch the birds. There were no birds, hadn't been any all day. So I said, okay, I am God, they are God. I said, let the birds come. And they did.
Beautiful.
I
Beautiful.
was amazed.
Excellent. Wonderful. Norma, tell us your takeaway.
Well, you remember on Sunday you gave us a stone to write something on.
Right.
The word that I wrote on my stone was freedom.
Good. Freedom on your stone.
I wanted freedom from fear. So in this paragraph, when you talk about this belief that you are separate is what is keeping you from the truth. If you accept the truth, you cannot be afraid, and fear no longer holds you captive. That's what I want.
Beautiful.
Get away from the fear of doing something or doing it wrong or doing it the wrong way or whatever. Just do what feels right.
Great.
So thank you.
Excellent. Great. Steve, tell us what your takeaway is. And I'm hoping that everyone out in the live streaming audience can hear our takeaways. Appreciate that.
You can create your new now, which is almost sounds like the title of a new book.
There we go.
There you go.
But you can create your new now. If you do that new now, feels good, feels exciting, then later you're tempted, I want to go back to that. But you can't. I mean, all you're trying to do is recreate what is now an old now.
Mhm.
It always has to be fresh. It's like trying to go back for yesterday's manna. Yesterday's manna is gone. You have to focus on today's manna. But I know that I've seen that in a lot of instances where people come together or there's an experience and it's really exciting, it's really great, and it's like, man, we need to repeat this. But it's not as good the second time or the third time or the fourth time. And then we get caught in that repetition, and then we don't know how to get out of that repetition. I think the Hindus call it samsara, or there's a lot of levels of samsara, but it's
Right.
we're obligated to keep doing this over and over again, and it's it can be a trap. And as long as we focus on, no, there's got to be a new now, and look for that new now, and live by that.
Beautiful. New now is happening right now. Oops, 2 minutes ago. That's an old now. We got a new one, right? Dr. David Carter, can you tell us your takeaway?
Yes.
Speak up really loud
Page
from where you're.
3, I love your wow, where you state, living life without negative options is essential to our success. I live with a positive plan A and not a negative plan B.
All right. There we go. Living with the power of just, I know I'm on plan A. I don't even know what a plan B is. I'm living a plan A and moving forward. And that's our great success. It's essential for us. Excellent. Do we have any takeaways from our live streaming audience? Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm so glad that you're with us today for this class. We look forward to you joining us next week at 10:30 on Thursday as we go into the next couple of chapters. I hope that you've been able to purchase your book. You can get the book on Amazon. It is The Book of Truth by author Paul Selig. Pick up your book. It'll be delivered in just a few days and begin to enjoy the reading. It is an interesting approach to explaining truth in our lives as we read through someone who is a channeler, channeling divine inspiration. And he's the author of I Am the Word and many other great books. But today we're studying the Book of Truth, a mastery trilogy, a channeled text. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week. God bless you. I know something amazing is happening in your life. I claim that. I believe that. I think God wants to speak to you today and let you know that something amazing is there. So let's begin to see it, perceive it, look at it, welcome it. Let's view it, dream it, imagine it. It's happening now. All right? And let's create that new now right now. God bless you. I'll see you next week.